Hey, we're live now in the Facebook group, Digital Marketing for Small Businesses and Entrepreneurs. I just wanted to talk about in this video something that a lot of small businesses don't actually do, which is a little bit sad to see. So perhaps this is something that sounds familiar to you and you can maybe relate, is you haven't done a lot of market research. Because when we hear the word market research, it kind of scares us off because we think it's going to involve some uh, long surveys, maybe some expensive people to put together a report and stuff like that. But realistically, with this day and age and huge communities online, it only takes a few minutes to do some market research. And the reason why it's important is because uh, with your customers, you need to somehow build rapport with them. You need to build a relationship with them with the messaging you have on your website. And in order to do that, to build rapport, I don't know if you're familiar with Tony Robbins at all, which a lot of people are. So one thing he says is that rapport is created by a feeling of commonality. And so you've got to sort of relate to someone. So if you went into a bar, one of his videos, he talks about this. If you went into a bar and you wanted to meet someone and build a relationship or build rapport with them, the first thing you would do is automatically is start asking them some questions about who they are and maybe their life and where they're from. But actually, the idea of that information, the questions themselves don't get the information. The questions themselves don't build rapport, but it's the information they give you which enables you to find the commonality. So you can find something in common and you can react because it's something that you might be interested in or something you've had experience in, and you can build rapport by having a positive engagement. But the challenge online is when you're doing digital marketing, you need to build that rapport with the words that you have. Ideally, the best way to build rapport is in person, because only something like Tony Robbins also talks about this, 7% of rapport is built by the words that you speak. 93% of it is built by your body language. So it's difficult when you're online and you're trying to find the person. It means your words count for so much because you can't be right in front of them unless you're doing heaps of videos or something like that. So I guess what I'm saying is you've got to put more effort into your messaging. If you're just saying something like the best accounting firm or something like that, in the best accounting firm in Sydney, or number one dentist in Brisbane, it's not relatable. You're not building rapport with anyone. It's and challenging to really craft a message that resonates to the desires. So anyway, a method that I use to instantly build rapport in my messaging is to first understand what my audience is saying about similar products and services. The best way to do that is using what we call the edge method, and I'll just switch across to the computer now and I'll show you how the edge method works on a live example. Okay, so now we're back on my computer screen. This is an upcoming ebook that I'm writing, which will be available for free inside this group soon. And essentially, I've created I'll bring it across, a little template for you guys to use, and it's what we use internally with two sheets. One sheet is the actual edge method, and it's got step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. Got an area down here where you can just take notes as you're doing your research online, and I'll just minimize some of this stuff. And then it's got basically this top table is where we spend most of the time, is where we go out and do research on the internet and find out exactly what people are asking. So I'm just fixing my green screen up a bit. The lighting's a bit off. It's quite dark tonight. What people are asking, what people are talking about, and what the importance of that message is, and we'll talk about that importance calculation. So I thought we'll come up with an example right now, and let's use dentistry. So one thing I like to do is start off in Google. So I'll just bring this across and just rearrange these screens so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So our goal is to sort of uncover the target customer's dreams, fears, desires, and passions, and that should give you a massive edge. This is why it's called the edge method, and it's a simple 4-step process. It does require a little bit of creativity and a bit of research. So you got to put your detective hat on, and it's not the same for every industry. It's a bit different. Some platforms will perform better. So what I did, first thing I did was you choose 2 phrases. The first phrase I'm going to do is common dentist questions. I could have just searched dentists, but in Google it doesn't give you a lot of really low resolution information about that. It's just localized to my area. Although straight away, actually this has given us some useful information. If you scroll down past the local results, you can see this people also ask section. This is really interesting. So there's some, can you still be put to sleep at the dentist? So one of the key things in digital marketing is a lot of people focus on marketing to a small portion of the market who are ready to buy right now, as in they're looking for a dentist right now and they're ready to buy. And that's great because they're low-hanging fruit, and that's makes for an account about 3% in any given market, and that's a common rule in marketing. However, there's a lot of people that probably come to your website or on Google typing questions. So they're in what's called information gathering mode. Imagine you and your competitors you're competing for that top 3%. So if it's a local business, that top 3% could be a pretty small percentage of people who are bidding for the same people who have their money out ready to buy, like a plumber or an accountant or a tow truck driver or a lawyer or even a mortgage broker. You're all bidding for those top 3% of people who want to make a transaction, get on the phone, make a booking, make a purchase today or in a short time frame. But if you could capture those people who are in information gathering mode, that's another 19% of people. Sorry about my shirt. Doesn't seem to like my shirt. But that's another 19% of people who you could capture. And imagine, so from 3% to 19%. So now you're at 22% of people that you could potentially capture if you capture them on your website by answering their questions. So giving them something in exchange for their email address, and you can answer their question in that free PDF. It doesn't have to be big, just like a 2-page, 3-page PDF that answers the specific question, and then puts them on an email list where they are drip fed more content surrounding that topic, and then at the end you give them an irresistible offer. So what you're doing is converting people in that 20% to the 3%. You're moving them up. It's called the marketing pyramid, which we talk about in the book. Moving up the pyramid. So this means that you're no longer competing for just the 3%. You're now ahead of the game, ahead of your competition, pulling in people who were just in information gathering mode. They weren't ready to buy, and you're pulling them up the pyramid faster so you can get them before your competitors. Sorry. So that's the purpose of this task, is to help convert people who are in information gathering mode and help you write your messaging according to that. But it's also to to help you in your current messaging for your 3% to ensure that it matches up with what the demand is in the market. Okay, so I will stop talking about that. I'll give you access to the ebook when it's ready, and you can put all this stuff to practice, and you'll have a clearer picture on where this fits into the grand scheme of things. But I just thought I'd do this live video, so it's available. It's going to be in the resources section of the group, and it will also be on YouTube. Alright, so let's have a look. We looked up dentist, and we're looking at a lot of questions here. But the phrase I chose was common dentist questions, because drilling down on the questions is what really helps us identify some of the resources. So this is kind of a process which can take a long time. I've installed a plugin called Keywords Everywhere in my Chrome browser, and I've got it currently set to United States traffic. So that is what's giving us these search volume keywords. So you see on this side, you've got the search volume, you've got the cost per click if you're doing paid advertising, you've also got the competition if you're doing advertising as well. But what it's useful for is seeing what kind of volume there is. So there's someone here, 70 people per month are typing have not been to the dentist in 5 years. So what if you found that that's actually touching on, they're obviously concerned that what happens if they haven't had a dental appointment in 5 years? What are the primary things that they would be concerned about, and what can they do about it? Alright, so what questions do I have to ask the dentist? I think this one's a really good one, because you could create some really good content around that. Now, so let's have a look. If I type that in. Alright. So if you keep actually looking at some of these, when should I see my dentist? Is a cavity a dental emergency? And they just keep coming. All these questions just keep coming. It's hard to see the volume of them. Do I need to see a dentist for gingivitis? How do you know you're having a dental emergency? So there's a lot of questions here which can be answered. And then there's also another tool called Answer the Public. Okay, so if in this tool I typed dentist, it crunches away and goes out and finds all the questions that people are asking on the topic. So as you can see, there's quite a lot. And then if I just skip across to the data tab, so are dentist checkups free? Are dentists open on Saturday? So there's quite a lot there. So what we want to do is go through this list and find ones that indicate a significant pain point. And the narrower, usually the better, because if you do want to eventually run an ad for that audience, the cost per click will be lower. So if you're targeting, for example, when to go to the dentist when pregnant, that's going to cost you $12.36 per click. If you were to create some information, give that away for free in exchange for an email address, it might cost you, say, $120 to get 10 email addresses, and then you have them in your local area. Remember, if you're doing a local dentist, you've targeted your ad into a local area. It might even be less than that, and you've delivered them the answer, and you've then start drip feeding content before you even ask for the sale, but you've given them valuable content to their pain point. You know, that's a pretty scary thing. Is like, you know, if is laughing gas going to affect my pregnancy? Like, these are types of questions that people are asking every day in the medical arena. Alright, so let's have a look here. There's some actually that have decent volume, but it depends on whether they are actually hitting on a pain point or not. So, just got some notes here. So, one of the questions we saw was, I'm just going to write this, what questions to ask your dentist. Okay, then there'll be stuff like, let's have a look here. Can dentist prescribe pain relief? That one's in the UK, but no doubt in most Western countries people will be searching that. Can dentists remove tonsil stones? I don't really know if they can, but that's, if you're a specialist, you probably would know. How dentists remove plaque. So that's an interesting one. That's only $5.59 per click in the United States. So I'm just copying these questions into the scratch area of the sheet, so you can see down there. Can dentists fix a loose tooth? Have a look. I'm just having a look at the search volumes. So this plugin that I was talking about, Keywords Everywhere, it's automatically put the search volumes. It's a free plugin. Dentists when pregnant. So then what you can do is then go back to Google and start exploring some of these a bit further. Is it safe to do dental work during pregnancy? Can you go to the dentist when pregnant? Is a dental treatment free when pregnant? Can you get your teeth cleaned during pregnancy? Dental fillings during pregnancy. That's a good one. Alright, so now that we've got that, we've picked a keyword, you can repeat this process with a different variation. So if you offer some specialized service within your business, you can use those services as well and do the same process, and just look at all the recommendations. So there's a few places to see recommendations. When you're writing something, I mean, look at all these recommendations. And then when you got questions coming down, these are what people have also asked. And then at the bottom, you've also got more recommendations. Tooth extraction pregnancy risks. So that's, you know, this is, if you are a dentist who do get a lot of pregnant women, there's heaps of high volume keywords out there to help. So this fix looks like my head's a bit transparent. Alright, so then also with the keywords everywhere, there's so many, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 places to get recommendations from with the Keywords Everywhere plugin installed. Then there's still much more you can do with this. If we go back to the original keyword, there is common dentist questions. Dentist forum, that's a good way to ask. So there's a few different forums where you can ask questions. Dental forum, I got something to ask a dentist, so you can go to the dental forum. Alright, and these forums are really good because they've got view counts. I think sometimes you can order by views, but if not, that's okay. Let's just have a look. So you got 4,000 views. Tooth sensitivity. Oh, that's a good one. I wonder if anyone had any suggestion for toothpaste and mouthwashes for sensitive teeth. That sounds like a great one because it's got mass appeal, and you know, there's so many. You know, you could write a free PDF or something about that. Talk about if you have sensitive teeth, what are the risks? So there's people already providing a lot of content here for you. So let's go. So I'm going to put sensitive teeth. It's quite obvious that that is a pain or fear. So let's put that in there directly. And so that's kind of how it works. So if we wanted to then work out the importance of that, let's jump across to, I don't know if you can see, the importance calculation tab. So basically, for every, oh, sorry about that. Sorry about moving my screens around, just trying to make it. So for every issue, I'm calling these issues, every line you do here, so pain, fear, sensitive teeth, let's go to importance calculation and answer these three questions. So do many people have this issue? Well, I would say yes, because the evidence that we saw was 4,000 people had looked at that post. It was 8 years ago, keep in mind. But if we then go to Google, so people search for sensitive teeth 22,000 times a month. You can do further things like how to stop sensitive tooth pain. There we go. That's a good one. That's one of the top. What treatments are available for sensitive teeth? This is if I was a dentist, this is like a gold mine because you could run an ad. And then just collect leads non-stop and build your database in the thousands of dollars for your local area. Sorry, in the thousands of people for your local area. And you just send an email and then you get customers for free, or people replying going, oh yeah, let me book in an appointment. So that's super powerful. So I would say that how many people does this issue affect? So I've got 10 maximum, 1 minimum. So 10, yep. Does the issue fit with my vision and or product or service? I mean, if you're a dentist and you do treat people with sensitive teeth, that is one of the services, then a 10, yeah. What intensity was the emotion behind the issue, whether it was positive or negative? I would say that it was pretty high. Let's have a look back at the, sorry, excuse me, look back at the tooth sensitivity post. So let's look at the wording. Hi, I was wondering if anyone had suggestions for toothpaste or mouthwash for sensitive. My teeth especially sensitive to hot and cold. Thanks in advance. Okay, so I don't think it's like the person is really desperate. So I would probably bring that score back to 10 being the most. I would say that's probably a 6. So this is a weighted score. If you want, you can go in and see the weight that I'm using. But essentially, I put the most weight on does it fit with your vision and or product or service. So that has a weighting of 50%. But then the next highest weight is how many people does it affect. So if you say 10, it means it's the maximum amount of people. And then the next weight is what intensity was the emotion at 14%. So I've done that weighting just because a direct average would be a little bit naive and sort of just a linear thing. But I think the goal here is to ensure that passion has a play in it. But if it's not related to your products and service, then there's no point really doing it at all. So that's kind of the baseline. Has to be related. Needs to be a lot of people, like a sort of a mass appeal, which has more weight than the burning desire itself. But of course, if you find one that has a 10 across all boards, it means that it will be a 10. But this is saying that 9.54, anything above a 5 should be on your radar. So I have to say that this isn't directly based on science. It's just based on what we've had experience with. And most marketing companies don't do any kind of score. They just say, how about you just come up with an important score yourself? So that's why I've added this, just to give you a little bit more control and remove that human error component to it. So if we copy that score and put that in, so what you do, sorry, I just made the mistake. Let's copy, and then when you go into the other column, go paste special, paste values only, and then the 9.54 comes in. All right, great. So that's sensitive teeth. That's how that works. So that is actually, I would say, number 4 is, I'll just do this each step as we go. So number 4 is ensuring that we have correct vocabulary, terminology, and industry-specific jargon, so that, and just recording it somewhere, so that when you do come back to it, you can speak their language, not your language. And that's really important in your messaging. So let's just put sensitive teeth in there. Okay, let's go through just some of these other things here, and we can go, what questions to ask your dentist. So this is actually a barrier. It's a question. And wasn't that important. So people are searching dentist questions. So if you saw what I just did there on ask answer the public, I hit Control F, which opens just this web page search, and typed questions. And dentist questions. So dentist questions. Let's take that, pump it into Google. Questions about dental hygiene. So that's a good one. So I would say that instead of just straight dentist questions. But you could just do like one resource with common questions. There's heaps of a lot of those already. But if you gave that away, if you ran an ad, like, I mean, CPC 0, so that just means there isn't enough information there to determine the cost per click. So let's have a look at the importance calculation for that. So the traffic isn't as many people. There's not an exact science to this, as you can see, but I think it's important to make, there was for the previous one, sensitive teeth, there was quite a lot of empirical results we could show, because there was 4,000 people had looked at it. There's other questions here that we could look at too. So you could talk about gum grafts. That's another one. So I've got 2,300. Here's one with 5,000. When to brush your teeth. Eight years ago as well, but that's had 5,000. When is the best time to brush your teeth? So I think that's a good one. I'll just write that down. Alright, so questions about dental hygiene. Let's finish that off. So we've got, does the issue fit within my vision and or products or service? Yes, if you're a dentist. What intensity was the emotion behind the issue? It definitely wasn't that intense. So yeah, I would say probably about a 5. The volume's pretty low. So pay special, values only. Alright, and then it's kind of just repeating this, can dentists fix loose teeth? So let's have a look at this check dent again. Two months ago, 1 year ago, so the most recent one. Not a lot of views. There's probably a few forums you could look at. You could even look at places like Reddit. Let's have a look at fix loose teeth. Okay, not a lot. So let's just go back to our dental advice. So you can go through and you can look at how many comments there are. Dentist questions for someone terrified. There we go. I know there's another dentist recommendation request up right now, but I think I might need something more specific. I haven't been to the dentist in years, partly out of fear. So that's one thing I've noticed with dentistry is a lot of people are afraid to go to the dentist. So if you can answer all of their questions and remove the uncertainty, then they're more likely to come to you. And especially you. If you can do it better than your competitors in your local area, then you'll essentially become the go-to fear-quashing dentist in your area, and people will just flock to you, especially if you can give them assurances that they've nothing to be afraid of. One of the things, of course, they're afraid of is money. So, afraid of getting fillings and getting drills. Sure, that's scary, but a lot of them also might be afraid of money. So if you could solve that problem as well. Anyways, you see there's massive discussions on this stuff. So you can just pull out information, just spend a night with a glass of wine or a cup of tea and go through and pull out information. Let's have another look. Can dentists prescribe pain relief? Or let's find one from here. So other language, of course, that you've got crowns and root canal. Yeah. So, sorry, I was just looking at some of those results. So many questions. So, when can I go to the dentist when I'm fasting? What about going to the dentist when I'm sick? Have the flu? Why are dentists so expensive? So people are searching for that every day. Dentists who take care source, so I don't know what that is. So some of these things you might actually know what they are, and it might be worthwhile because that's 720 searches a month in the US. In America, of course, they have Medicaid, so that's an important thing to talk about. In Australia, we have Medicare. So if you talk about which dentists do bulk billing, which we have in Australia, or which dentists support Medicaid, or which dentists support Medicare. Will dentists do payment plans? That's a good question because you can definitely rack up a bill. Which dentist does implants? So I know a lot of implants is a big industry in the dentist world. So if you wanted to position yourself as an authority, you could write a lot of educational content around implants when people are searching for them. And if you wanted to get really specific, you could get right in, say, how much does dental implants cost? $800 a month. So imagine if your ad was right here and it was giving away content. So that means you paid for that person to come to your website in your area. You target people in your area, and then they come in and they download a free quote or pricing list. They jump on your email list, and every day you get 4 or 5 people on your email list or more, and it's cost you like $100 or so. You cultivate them, you warm them up, and that list just keeps getting bigger and bigger every day, and you basically have customers on demand when you offer them a good deal. That deal doesn't have to be a price cut. It's building value around the importance of implants, what they can do for you, what the benefits are, how they can change their lives and reduce whatever pain points they're going through. So yeah, there's a lot you can do here. So the goal here is to populate this. Dentist when pregnant. So that's a fear. So probably a lot of fear and barriers in this, not just hopes and dreams. Alright, so dentist when pregnant. How many people are affected by this issue? Using the keywords everywhere plugin, we can get some data on that. 140 a month. So I would say it's less, sort of about 6 or 7 compared to the other one, which was our maximum 4,000-ish. Sensitive teeth impacts more people. I would say if you are a dentist and you've got some information to give pregnant women, then this is probably highly relevant because you probably service them anyway. What intensity? I would say the intensity for that emotion would be quite high because the risks are high if there were something that they were meant to know. So let's copy that, Control C, and paste special, paste values only. Alright, so what you can do here is once you've populated all these, in each of the pain and fears, hopes and dreams, and barriers and uncertainties, you can highlight this data. It says here, highlight the data, sort range, column B, Z to A. So let's go data, sort range, column B. Make sure you have it all highlighted so it searches this as well, Z to A. And you go sort. It was already sorted, but what that would have done is ensured that sensitive teeth, which had the highest importance calculation, goes to the top. Alright, so that's probably given you a good rundown on how to actually develop your understanding of the market. There's a lot of other tools you can use. You can use SEMrush, which can help you identify even more questions, but it's paid. But the dentist's Answer the Public tool is free, but you can only do so many searches a day. SEMrush have a free trial which enables you to do a few more searches. Reddit, of course, is free, so you can jump on Reddit. Any of these, I don't know if I've got it open anymore. Any of these forums you can access is free. Another one is Quora.com, and I've got actually a list of them. If you're doing B2B, you can jump on LinkedIn groups, and Quora would be good. If you're, but yeah, I spend a lot of my time on Answer the Public and Google, which is pretty cool. And then and go through and just record all of the vocabulary people are using. So I would be going through these questions and putting stuff like removing plaque, tonsil, brush, teeth. A lot of this stuff is all well known and common, so that's fine. But in some other industries, you might have people might not know the names of things, technical terms. So that's the goal there, is to just, you can write some notes about it, and maybe there's some phrases that are more frequently used than others. So you would put them in there. I know this seems so rudimentary, but the whole purpose here is to ensure that your message is going to be on point moving forward. So like you're not just collecting demographic information, which you might already know, like age and gender and location. It's like, what are the questions people are asking? What's actually keeping people up at night? Why are they taking action online? Why are they motivated enough to write a question online on a public forum and to get answers? And of course, in the dentistry, there's a lot of questions. People have heaps of questions. But yeah, so I'm just having a quick read of my book. Yeah, so I even say in the book, like if I had to put the success of a business down to one thing, this would be it. Because if you're unable to speak their language and answer the questions and the demand that they have, you're unable to fill the gap and fill the void. Um, some people, they go into business because they're masters of their craft, which is great. So I mean, I started out like that. I was a computer geek, so I was able to solve problems, and I started to freelance and get clients that way. But I realized I didn't want to work in the business anymore and worked on the business. So I was able to delegate the actual work and focus on growing the business. Focusing on growing the business for me meant learning how to match my messaging, how to match my targeting, how to match my marketing to the actual need that was out there. Because I always struggled because I had a perception of what was required, but but the actual market needs were different. So often that's the case because we experience something ourselves, so we get into something, but what people are actually asking online, there's a bit of a difference in perception. Because otherwise I would have gone down some track where I was always struggling and not finding the right language and not finding the right way to add value to the people in the marketplace right now who do have those questions. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be releasing this little ebook in the next couple of weeks in the group for your enjoyment. Talk to you soon.